All right, everybody, welcome
Hold
to
on. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 209 of Wrestling on the Max. This is part 1 for you guys, and we are ready to talk wrestling today because, trust me, we've got SummerSlam fallout. We've got, of course, some NXT TakeOver fallout as well that we are going to get into. Lots of big news topics that are very interesting this week, including a little bit of a situation in a personal life and a man like, let's see, Alberto Del Rio? Yeah, I know. That's another one of those things where we'll be getting into his life and what's going on. We've heard a lot of rumors, things, and, getting into that. Plus, we're talking about the Cruiserweight Classic. We're going to talk about the 5 announced for Monday Night Raw. We're going to get into that. Plus, a lot of other great news. You don't want to miss any of it. And, of course, we've got Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor. We are going to talk about that pay-per-view, break it down, and get into each match and kind of give you our thoughts and our opinions on everything that happened. Plus, of course, this Ring of Honor episode that we just had this Monday night. So, lots of great stuff to get into, guys. I am so excited. I'm your host, Gary Vaughn, and of course with me, our co-host and partner in crime, Mr. Paul Leeser.
Heyo.
And, of course, another co-host, and, of course, the guy that runs the show and the producer, Mr. Sean Garmer.
Yeah, what is happening?
Oh, man.
We need to come up with better things for this.
Well, I thought about that. It's kind of funny is, I like to announce everybody, let everybody, know who's on the show tonight. Of course, it's just us three. We were so blessed last week to have Chet Yoder joining us for the Thursday show. We had him help us kind of talk about NXT TakeOver. In the past, we've had other great guests. Of course, Chris Limsky joins us every once in a while. A busy man, but we were so happy when he was able to join us. Of course, he did join us this past weekend when we did our SummerSlam review. That's right. We did a Wrestling Owner Up to the Max. It was all about SummerSlam this past weekend. We got into everything that was involved with that. So it was so cool to have Chet Yoder involved with that. Patrick Ketz, of course, is a part of the show. And then, of course, we had a nice phone call from, our good friend, fourth co-host of the show, Chris Limsky. So great stuff. I'm so happy that he was able to join us. And so we had that. And, of course, if you didn't get it, we did talk NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2. That was also a W2M extra that we did this weekend. So those are some shows that you may not have got a chance to hear us talk about. Hey, it's on the download for you, baby. Go check it out.
Late. Comcast is not a friend for me. And this has now happened twice where it doesn't work. Of course, also happens to happen when, I guess now they're doing this to make sure I pay them on time, which I've never not paid them on time, which is so weird. But every time I've had to wait for the guy to come out, literally right before the guy comes to my house, everything starts working. Without fail, twice now. And I'm just like, man, this has got to be some game that Comcast is playing. Like, I don't get it.
Screwing with you, Sean. They're doing it. They're doing it on purpose. No,
well, they're screwing with all of us. They're screwing with you, the listeners, because I was so angry that we could not have our stuff out so you guys could at least have the whole day of Monday to listen to TakeOver and SummerSlam, and I couldn't do anything until 5 o'clock Eastern time, and by then you guys are already in Raw mode, so hopefully you guys still get to go back and listen to our thoughts on that, though.
Yeah, and trust me, it is worth it. I know you may have already watched Monday Night Raw, and you're like, well, why do I need to listen to it? Trust me, it is a great podcast, both of them. They have lots of great information. The NXT TakeOver show, you still have time because, of course, it's not Wednesday, so it's not like you're going to catch that. But I will say this, the SummerSlam one was lots of fun. We had lots of great conversations. You don't want to miss it, no matter what. So, but saying all that, I mean, just to let everybody know, if you're, of course, a first-time listener, go check out the W2M Network. That's the place you can find all those shows. You don't have to go any further, but get on there, subscribe, and you've got them all. It's easy as pie. And of course, want to thank some other people. Of course, we had not gotten a chance to wish them a happy birthday, but we forgot, Sean. I don't know if you know this, but we forgot,
man.
We got to wish him happy birthday now. So Tom Reese had a birthday on Sunday. Man, it's so awesome. He's our New Japan expert. He's a great guy. Appreciate him. And of course, a cohort in crime and a guy that we all love here. He's also a guy that's been a lot more of the video games podcast. But Daniel Anderson. It was so cool to have his birthday fall on the same days as Tom, so we kind of killed two birds with one stone in a way. But I love it. Both those guys are special to us as a podcast and, of course, as a network. So happy birthday to them. And, of course, I have a personal one. Michael Watley, a good friend of mine. Happy birthday to you as well. Sunday was his birthday. So it's just, man, Paul, Sean, I mean, it's kind of crazy. I can't believe we forgot.
I know, and I reminded you, too. I said, okay, before we start one of these shows, we need to give Tom and Daniel some love, and we did not. So,
it's our bad, and my fault. I'm supposed to be doing that, and my bad. But now at least they got their due.
I mean, right? I mean, whatever.
Yeah, exactly, and you're right. And I appreciate that. It's just one of those things,
Yeah, we're freaking building a website now. So.
Oh, you laid it out, Sean. I can't believe you did it.
Well,
you did
if people that are in charge of other places where I write are happen to listen to this and this is the first time you're hearing it, I'm sorry. But nothing changes as far as what's happening on those websites. Just we want to have a place where, for one, we have this cool network, and we want more people to know about it. We want our people to know about all the other podcast hosts that partner with us to do shows. Give them time to shine and give them abilities to write something if they want to. And some of these personalities that you've heard on our shows, if they want to write stuff, so they can do that. And of course, we will be writing things as well. So just be able to be that all-encompassing. And it's not just going to be wrestling. It's going to be very much just like the network of games and football and entertainment and everything else. So we're aiming for September 1st. Don't hold us to that because there's a lot that goes into this. But that's the launch date right now.
Yeah, and you'll hear it here first. Once we do launch the site and it will be official, we will give you that
Well,
date.
The reason I'm doing this too, Gary, is the fantasy guys beat us to the punch already. They're already shilling ads over there.
Oh, wow.
On the Fantasy Football Podcast.
Wow.
So, of course, Randy, you heard him here during the draft episode, and another guy that's sort of like, he's like the marketing guy for the website. He works with the company that's helping us build it, and he's like, well, I'm already going to run an ad on that podcast. So I'm like, well, crap, we got to start announcing it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Then. So
hey, I'm proud and I'm excited about it. And Paul, this is a new venture for all of us, but I think it's something that people have been kind of waiting for. I mean, most podcasts have a website for you to go to, and we've kind of waited on it. We wanted it to be just right, and I feel like we're at the point. It's just right. It's about the right time.
Yeah, I mean, dusting off the old writing skills as I've been practicing. Because I know both me and Sean are going to be busy as bees trying to keep up with everything like we do. But, yeah, it's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to really just having the opportunity to contribute more to a community that I think we've done a nice job of building.
I agree with you 100%. And, we appreciate everybody who's coming and checking us out tonight. And, of course, every time they come in, they've subscribed to the W2M Network. And we've got a great group. We never say that, we're, the leaders of anybody. We're just here to entertain, to educate, to just basically give you guys information if you want it. And, that's why we do this. We don't do this to be amazing. Sure, would we love to make tons of money and be rich and famous? All of us would wish that. People listening right now want that. But that's not our main goal. Our main goal here is to have a great time, to share in something we love, which is wrestling. And, of course, this website goes into our other loves, entertainment, football, and, of course, video games. So you don't want to miss it when we do launch that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll give you all the details once we get it ready, So...
it's a little bit scary though, trying to do something this big, because it's not just wrestling like a lot of other sites do. Trying to do 4 different things with a small set group of people at the beginning is difficult. But hey, this is your shot. You're listening to this right now. Send an email to. I'm going to use my email right now. I'm setting up a contact email for the website. We'll have to talk about what's going to happen to the other emails. Unfortunately, apparently those are not going to happen right now. But there will be a contact email for the site. But s.garmer@gmail.com. If you have writing skills, or just if you're somebody who likes to do Let's Plays on video games, if you're somebody who likes entertainment, if you're somebody that likes football, and you think that you can have some way to contribute, send an email, man, with an example or anything like that. Join the Facebook group if that's and then post something that way. You can hit us up on Twitter at WTMSean, at WTMGary, at Hail to the Chim 7. Get us out at that way and say, hey, heard you guys are doing the site. Wanna know what's going on. How can I help out? So we're just kind of looking for anybody that wants to contribute something, and it all starts small, and as it goes, you never know how big it can get.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be exciting, and I definitely encourage anyone out there who has any inkling to write a column. This is like Sean said, this is your opportunity to share your opinions, to share your thoughts, and to just basically get the word out what you think about your favorite TV shows, a movie you just saw. Maybe you're a big Atlanta Falcons fan, and you just want to write about your favorite sport, whatever it is. Let us know what you think, what you can do, and we'd love to have you join forces with us. So. Well, Gary, great stuff, guys. Well, let's do what we came here to do, and that's talk some wrestling, guys. We've got lots of good stuff to get into tonight. I can't wait to talk about Death Before Dishonor. But before we do that, we're going to talk about some big news. Let's get into some quick hits, guys. Alrighty, let's start this thing off and talk about the Cruiserweight Classic. Now, we talked about this on our Raw review show. The fact that, of course, Monday Night Raw, they announced there will be some new Cruiserweight Classic guys joining the roster. Of course, that will be 5 exactly at this point. We have Brian Kendrick. We also have T.J. Perkins, Noam Dar, Rich Swann, and Cedric Alexander. Those are 5 names that we've seen before on the Cruiserweight Classic. To really break this thing down, Paul, what do you think about each of these guys? Do you think that this is a good group to start with, and who do you expect?
It's a very varied group, which is great. Rich Swann obviously can bounce out of the building. Noam Dar is a great mat worker. You have TJP, who is a terrific all-arounder, but really good at just making things look so smooth and flow and all that good stuff. And Brian Kendrick, your veteran, and then you have Cedric Alexander, who sort of plays the middle ground, I think, between everybody, too, and is just a exciting person to watch. And what's important about all these guys they've announced already is charisma. They have promo ability. They leap off the screen at you. Guys that, I would expect. I think Ho Ho Lun has been signed. Graham Metalik, they fired trademarks for already, so I'm pretty sure he's guaranteed. And you probably have maybe 3 other guys coming in.
I think Lince Dorado is pretty much confirmed at this point, too.
Yeah, I think you start with 10 is where we're going to be at with this. And from there, you can vary it out with tag teams, matches, or whatever else you're going to do. But I think they have a solid core to build around. I really don't want to see this become sort of like TNA's X Division, where they're just having matches for the sake of having matches. And they can be great and all that, but if you don't build characters, if you don't build stories, if you're not building anything around these guys, it's going to quickly run into, man, these guys can have great matches, but that's really all they're bringing to the table.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that. You definitely do not want to run into WCW territory here. You don't want to always make them the opener. You need to vary that up. Give them stories, because that's something that's sort of been lacking at times. And this also helps replace some of the mid-card like fodder that you've had to throw out there because you don't have enough guys to fill 3 hours. So this allows you to have a division built around it. You can, whenever they come out with the Cruiserweight title, which, God, I hope it's not, pleather red with whatever look it's going to have. It's going to be interesting what they do with this, but definitely, please, can we have some stories built with these guys?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, and I hope that they do have the ability and time that they need to invest to do that, because I think these guys, like Paul said, all have charisma. They have something to really just to get out there, and people don't know them very well, so this is their opportunity. I just hope they're not just a bunch of flippy guys that WB presents but never allows them to have any stories or anything like that. I think they'll put some effort into it. I think that they've invested so much into it, they should allow that to happen. So I'm excited about it, and I think these 5 names have a lot of potential. Brian Kendrick, I know Daniel Bryan gushes over him, but he's a guy we've seen before, but also a guy that's impressed me very much. I mean, he definitely has the veteran ability to get out there and just do his job without even thinking about it. The other guys, they're young. Cedric Alexander, we've seen him with Ring of Honor. We've seen him do a lot of good things, but we've never seen him on a big show like Monday Night Raw. And some of these other guys you haven't either, so I'm really curious to see how they're going to react once they step in that arena and see all the people that they're going to be seeing on a Monday night live TV and not a tape show. That's the biggest thing for me, which I think these guys can handle it. I think they can. And TJ Perkins is another guy that I'm excited about seeing, because we've seen him for years and years on TNA being suicide, manic, whatever you want to call him. So good stuff. I'm really looking forward to it.
Do you think that with the names they've announced, do you think that blows who's probably going to win the CWC?
I wouldn't be surprised if TJP wins CWC now.
That's where I'm thinking too.
Oh, that's awesome. I wouldn't mind seeing that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, because I think Gargano's definitely staying in NXT. Not that again, like I said, before, like we talked about last week, these guys are going to be working NXT house shows, and they might even work NXT as well to kind of just deviate some of the guys you're going to see there. But I definitely think that we kind of know who's going to be proceeding through. Now, I mean, they could still surprise us here with like Navy and Akira Tozawa or something like that going further, because they might think that they could sign him when you get to that final night or something like that. But they are taping NXT and that last set of CWC before the final this week, so maybe we'll find out more then. I do have apparently news that the Dudley Boys thing was legit on Raw. Apparently everybody was giving him a standing ovation in the back and everything after that angle, that unless they do agree to those deals or something and maybe they make them into some kind of backstage role, that seems like they're done.
Wow. That's kind of sad. We talked a little bit about on the Raw review. And those guys still have something to offer. It's kind of a surprise to me. I don't know, Paul. I mean, is this a forced thing? The WB's kind of like we're kind of done with the Dudleys. What do you think?
I mean, these guys have stepped away before to open the training school. If they want to keep them around for NXT and let them sort of like teach a class about tag teams or promos or whatever, then so be it. But if they're done wrestling, they're done. And if it is, I mean, it sucks, but it's the end of an era for them and for wrestling guys. They're one of the last great tag teams who really went around and just won belts and looked hella impressive. Sort of the same thing that like the Legion of like teams back in the territory days did, like the Legion of Doom or the Midnight Express or teams like that.
Do you think this has anything to do with WB not signing Velvet Sky?
I don't think so.
I'm just teasing. I just want to throw that out there, to see if Bubba Ray was giving him a hard time. Sign her, I'm out, kind of thing. I don't think that's the case at all. It comes as a shock to me, and maybe there's a reason they didn't make this a big deal earlier. Maybe they're doing like a Band-Aid, quickly get it over with and move on. and not linger around of, hey, we're leaving. I think it's going to work better for me emotionally. But it works, and best to them. I really hope that if they find their place where they want to be, whether they be working with NXT in the Performance Center, whether they just go work on their own school, whatever they do, I just, best wishes to them. They're amazing. I love them. Let's talk about something else that's kind of interesting. Ring of Honor is actually bringing somebody to their big show, Reach for the Sky. That is going to be Marty Scurll. This is interesting, Paul.
Ring of Honor and this UK tour, they're looking pretty excited. They already have Ospreay, and now they have Marty Scurll, who's terrific talent, and it really shows that they are going out of their way to try to get the big name English indie talent to show up on these shows, probably to help attendance in the wake of them not having the New Japan guys coming around, although we don't know that for sure yet. But smart move, and it's already two guys who will fit in well with their style.
I think with in Europe, they already have the thing with Rev Pro, so they probably don't want to step on that territory where they may not want to help out ROH when they're in Europe. So, I mean, I don't know. It's obviously New Japan's deals with whoever they want, but I'd assume that they try to keep it to that territory is where they deal with them.
I mean, Ospreay's sort of a weird thing here, because if he's here and he works around Pro 2 and he has the New Japan deal,
right,
you're already sort of crossing that line.
Yeah. Well, I meant like the other New Japan guys, like having, say, Okada or somebody showing up there. Yeah. Speaking of New Japan, I forgot to put this in the doc, but they did announce the big matches for the next set of big shows that New Japan is going to have. Some ROH involvement in this too, Paul. Katsura Shibata defending the Never title against Bobby Fish. And you got Kyle O'Reilly. Who's he wrestling on this?
I know Omega's defending the briefcase against Taco.
Yeah, against Yoshihashi. Naito possibly might take that IC title away from Michael Elgin. So your boy Naito might be champion again, Gary.
Oh, I can't wait. I hope so.
Adam Cole makes his debut with the Young Bucks against Kojima and Seidel and Ricochet for the six-man titles. Fale and Okada. And Young Bucks against they're having both titles? Okay, that's funny. Young Bucks against the Briscoes for the heavyweight titles. And Kushida and Bushi again. So, what do you think, Paul?
I'm pretty psyched. I mean, the Young Bucks want to make the move. There's talk going around that maybe New Japan might be putting their two tag titles together and make one division, which would really help. And everything I saw that was announced, I'm kind of excited for it.
Yeah, because I think Guerrillas of Destiny or whatever are also wrestling a junior team, if I'm not mistaken. So that's sort of what led to the people thinking that you got all this junior mixing now, so it's weird. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's cool though, because they don't have, Paul and I have talked about it a bunch of times, they don't have this depth in either division where you're going, what's the point of keeping them separate anymore?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the junior tags, they just keep throwing together multi-man matches, and in the tag team division, you've put together a lot of mid-card guys back into older teams, or have brought in guys that maybe shouldn't be there, like a Tongaloa. So it makes a lot of sense. If you have two not-so-deep divisions, just smack them together, you have a deeper division. It makes sense.
And Okada, then Marufuji's already set for King of Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
And it's Juice and Kyle O'Reilly.
I think for the next Lionsgate show, it's a lot of New Japan Noah matches, too, to sort of keep that feud going that they started at the G1 finale.
It's a big 10-man tag with the same 8. And then I think they added that Kojima and somebody from Noah that I can't remember right now. But, yeah, I mean, that's really cool that they're doing that on Lionsgate, where they have a lot of Noah and New Japan interaction already. So, even in the small territory, we're doing it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, good stuff. I mean, that's going to be really exciting, for us all to get to check out. So, be looking out for that. We also go ahead.
What's weird though with New Japan is normally they don't announce the one title for the other one. So I'm guessing that means that Okada. We already know Okada's beating Fale. Normally they don't do the we're going to announce 2 title matches already, because they were not happy at all at the fact that I had to go back and listen to this, but listening to other people talk, apparently Kevin Kelly had to actually explain what would happen on Death Before Dishonor if Kojima happened to beat Jay Lethal, because they were not happy about the fact that Jay Lethal was sort of making a big deal about him facing Adam Cole on the show and everything else. So, just weird that New Japan would do it themselves, and they got mad about Ring of Honor doing it.
Yes.
Double standard.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, just to let everybody know that there is some other interesting news that is not so great and not so fun, like those New Japan shows. It is actually about a certain wrestler, that is Alberto Del Rio. He is going through a lot of life issues right now, and one of those being a big divorce he's going through at the moment. And he's being accused of some things, which we all know when accusations get thrown around in court and with lawyers, it changes the whole perspective. And he's being accused of adultery. He's being accused of cruelty. Those are some serious things, and that could affect, if he gets his kids. Of course, that also involves money, houses, cars, everything involved. So this guy is going through the ringer right now, and it's a difficult situation. And I mean, Sean, from everything you're hearing, this is tough.
Yeah, this is a rough one. Even though we sort of already knew Del Rio's stance, that he had said before the Page thing that they were done, and then there was conflicting reports when that came out of no, they're still married or whatever, and this sort of confirms that whole are they married, are they not married thing, and she's wanting the car and the kids and the house and all that stuff, and he's wanting the kids and the car and the house, and he wants it to be in Mexico, she wants it to be in the U.S., he wants her to take a psychiatric evaluation, she wants this. It's like, well, it sounds like a divorce to me.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like telenovela to me.
Yeah, that too.
Somebody call Dario.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man. That sounds like where he's headed anyway.
I don't know.
It's very...
Man, that'd be weird if he goes back there again.
It wouldn't surprise me. But he may not. I don't know.
Because didn't they go out of their way to sort of bury him a little bit on those first shows? That he just left? Or at least
don't remember.
Background. Or at least in the background, I think not necessarily on the show, but just, man. Mm-hmm. Would you really want to go back to work AAA after you didn't even get to drop your title there?
Well, there's another company that people are going to, and it, has people getting deleted. But I don't know.
Yeah, he could go there. Why not? They're taking everybody else WWE had for him.
Mm-hmm. So, and he cut a promo on them just like, Sandow did. Or Aaron Rex, that terrible name. But, just this whole situation is bad. I feel bad for Del Rio in a way. But then again, I don't know the situation. Maybe I shouldn't feel bad for him. Maybe I should feel bad for his soon-be ex-wife. I don't know. It's not my position. I don't know much about it. But,
he's saying that he was terrible to her, or that she was terrible to him. So, so weird.
Yeah, it sounds like every other divorce, right?
Yeah.
So
it just sounds messy.
Yeah, very messy. So I think we'll leave it at that. Very interesting situation. Of course, we'll wait and see, after his suspension with WWE, what happens. His contract is up in October. and so I'm sure he will be granted his release. And I'm really curious more to see what happens to Paige. That's the one we're really interested, I think, in. All right, well, we are going to move out of quick hits. That's all the news for this episode. We are going to talk about some Ring of Honor, and we're going to start this thing out with Death Before Dishonor. So just give us a second here, and we will be right back with that next. All right, Paul, take it away.
All right. So we get a pretty sweet opening video package hyping up Lethal and Cole that Nigel narrates, and at this point in time, I'm already losing my mind. I'm hyped beyond all belief, and I just want to fast forward to the main event, but of course I can't. Can't do that. I gotta watch everything else. And they come out swinging here with the number one contender 4-corner survival match for the television title. Number one contendership. It's Kamatachi taking on JY, taking on Donovan Dijak, taking on Lio Rush. This is a really fun match from the get-go. They just sort of turn around and start, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. And I think everybody sort of gets their time to shine. Lio gets to look like he's faster than light. Kamatachi gets to be dirty and heelish. And JY gets to show what's been making him so impressive since he's gotten the Ring of Honor. And Dijak ends up coming out the winner here. Just absolutely destroys Rush with a feast your eyes, and that's what gets him to fight. And Dijak and Rush just have so much chemistry together; it's unreal. And I keep having them fight forever because it's awesome.
Yeah, I think if I'm not wrong, I think the crowd was they chanting "Fight Forever"? I can't remember, but
I think everybody got a chant.
Yeah, pretty much. You're right. It was a lot of fun. I mean, this was a good match, and it was exciting. I mean, we've seen recently this whole feud between Dijak and, of course, Lio Rush, and that's been fun. It really has, and Rush has looked excellent through that entire thing. Excellent, and I was a big fan of his coming in. So I think that, at the end of the day, Dijak winning is a good thing. White could have taken this home and everybody would have been happy. I look at this and say this just makes all the sense in the world for Donovan Dijak to win, and this gives him some credibility and puts him over that hump because Lio Rush has kind of owned him. He's like a little Mighty Mouse himself. He really has done a great job, but Dijak is still powerful and he comes home with the victory. So I was happy with it.
What I liked is that they were telling both their stories with this of White and Kamatachi and the Russian Dijak story through this. Like, they didn't try to work it like one of these normal 4-corner survival things and it's all about one guy. They really made it more about each thing that they've been trying to build up and not necessarily just featuring one person. So everybody got time to shine and Dijak wins, and so he looks good and it feels like you're building someone.
Exactly, you're right on that. And the one thing I do love, Paul, is the beginning of this where they had Dijak and Kamatachi kind of facing off, and they just both bail and go get the other guys.
Yeah, that's great. That was really great. I mean, they have a lot of great spots in there. Lio Rush absolutely destroys Dijak with a reverse Rana on the outside, which is just incredible. Dijak catching Rush and tossing him like he's nothing is always awesome, and Kamatachi getting to do that stupidly high jump senton splash to the outside on White is just incredible. And honestly, any 4 of these guys are great. I think that speaks a lot to the direction they want to go with.
Mm-hmm.
Next match, Katsuyori Shibata making his U.S. debut against Silas Young, the last real man of pro wrestling. I like this a lot. Silas Young comes at Shibata with some stuff, and Shibata just says, nope, you're shit, and comes back even harder. And they continually work up to that point of Shibata wanting Silas to hit him harder, wanting him to bring everything he's got, and when he doesn't, Shibata runs him over. And eventually, Silas gets his little hope spots in here and there, but, obviously it's one of those. The finish was never in doubt. Sleeper hold into the PK, gets Shibata the win. And post-match, the two end up slapping the living hell out of each other right in the face and then shake hands because, real men and stuff.
Yeah, I love it. I'm a Silas Young fan. I love that whole thing, and this just made all the sense in the world. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. And here's the thing. I think that they really kind of brought it home with the fact that they had Shibata with a shoulder injury. That evened the playing field a bit here. Now I know Silas Young's a tough guy, but let's be honest. As tough as he is, he's not the strong style guy that Shibata is, and he's not as tough. And that kind of became evident at the end of this whole thing. But in the meantime, this shoulder injury gave Silas Young a little bit more a chance to get offense in. And I appreciated that. I really did. And I think that actually made both guys look good. It wasn't like a New Japan guy comes in and just destroys the Ring of Honor guy. That's not what happened here.
Oh, no, certainly. That's the thing, too. Like, you're going to see it with the Okada and Castle match, is that they certainly did not have either of these, like, sort of showcase singles matches where the Ring of Honor guy looked bad at all. He got a lot more than I thought he would against, a never champion as Shibata. And then they shake the hands and everything. And, Silas Young even cut a promo that they kind of aired, I think, online later of him saying, look, it's almost seeming like it's not over. Like, next time he's gonna be coming even harder for him than the time you saw here. So, cool.
I'd be okay with that. I thought these two had a really good match, so. More of that, please, ROH. Next up, six-man tag, the Bullet Club team, Yujiro Takahashi, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa, taking on Chaos, which is Trent Beretta, Rocky Romero, and Toru Yano. This was fun. You have Caprice Coleman at ringside for commentary to scout the Guerrillas of Destiny, as ANX is going to face them on the next set of TV tapings that took place on Saturday. This is probably the worst match on the show. It's not much. You get in a lot of the hits from everybody, and that's really about all. And, of course, I'm forgetting the winner, Chaos. Yano gets to work the Yano special and gets Yujiro.
This was the worst match on the show.
Yeah.
Yano having a hard time with the turnbuckle pads is funny.
That was funny.
Because he's obviously not used to that. He's having to get the scissors because they're a little bit harder than having to pull the whole pad off. So, yeah.
I loved Yano in this match. That was the only selling point for me, really, to be honest with you. And I love him running around. I just get a kick out of the guy. Running in a circle, doing all that kind of goofy stuff, and for him to get the win here, I think it makes sense. And it's not a great match by any means, but it was okay. It got its job done.
Yeah, ultimately, this is a palate cleanser for the next match because at the end, out comes Hangman Page running in with the noose. He gets it around Yano, and Jay Briscoe makes the save. And that sends us right into our Anything Goes match between the two. And by God, did these two beat the living hell out of each other. Lots of chairs, lots of fancy using the noose. There's too many spots to call. The big one, of course, the rite of passage that Adam Page delivers through Jay Briscoe through the table. These tables, the way they're breaking is just, lots of sharp edges, I guess, because these two get cut up like nobody's, business. Adam Page's knee is a gross mess, and Jay's back and neck are all bloody, and ugh. Surprisingly, Hangman Page, Adam Page, whatever you want to call him, he goes over here, he hits another, a second rite of passage in the ring to get the win, and this is a must watch. This was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, DNA everywhere. It was a crime scene. I mean, these guys did a great job, though. It thoroughly entertained me all the way through, all the different spots. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. And the one thing I do appreciate about this is that once again, I mean, one guy wasn't really dominant over the other. Both these guys were made to look strong. Jay Briscoe came in here and took advantage of it first. Really showcased that, hey, I'm the big guy here. You're gonna have a tough time beating me. But at the end of the day, you have, this guy that, is just, finds a way to win, and that's Paige, and finds a way to do anything he can to get the victory. So I appreciate that. I loved it. I loved, in fact, Ring of Honor showing those tables that were broken with the blood on them. It just shows what this match was all about, and it was about two guys breaking themselves to try to get a victory here. And at the end of the day, Paige is strong, and I'm okay with it.
Man, yeah, this was pretty awesome that Paige got the win, and that they went out there and freaking had a great match here. And it's one of these that they'd actually been building up through ROH too, so it had that story, and you felt more of it and everything. And just you guys kind of mentioned all the spots, but just want to reiterate, like what you guys have been saying, just some terrific stuff. Definitely one of the matches you need to go see from the show.
Yeah, and that Paul, I don't know how they were successful with that table spot, but if I'm Jay Briscoe, I'm not thrilled about going to the table, even if I'm, safe. That scares me.
I mean, this isn't the
down.
last time we're going to see one of these deadly tables in action tonight either. There's another great spot. Adam goes for his running shooting star press off the apron, and Jay nails him with a super kick right to the side of the freaking head, and absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. And I'm with you. I wouldn't have taken a table spot out on any of these.
Nope.
So we go from violence to over-the-top charisma with Dalton Castle taking on Kazuchika Okada. And, man, this is pretty good. I was really surprised how much Dalton got to run on Okada. And it's solid, rock solid. Dalton gets his hopes out of all the ROH versus New Japan matches. I think this is the one where I might have gotten close to believing they might have let Castle go over. And that's just because of how well he hits that first bangerang after the boys get into the ring. And that whole arena bought it for sure. And ultimately it would be for naught. A Rainmaker ends up putting him away, but this is a really good match. Really good.
Yeah, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm a huge Dalton Castle fan, so it's hard for me not to enjoy, not enjoy anything he does. I mean, this guy is amazing. And of course, Okada, I mean, you don't need to even say anything. This guy's amazing too. So, with these two guys, I knew it had to be something special, and to me, it was. I really enjoyed it. Sure, could they have bigger and better matches later down the road? I'm sure they will. But this one did a good job, and I was really appreciative of how they handled it. Dalton Castle got enough in for me to feel like they respect him and they think a lot of him, and it shows me that Okada does as well. So the only thing that was the boys thing. That was kind of an awkward thing with the boys and Okada. Giving Okada the high fives. That was kind of funny, weird. But
it was about being in awe of Okada. That was the cool thing. That they were, I thought they sort of lost the cool thing about it was that Okada posed with him and then they cut away, and it was like, oh man, come on! That was what you wanted to see the whole damn night, other than obviously the match. But it's just like, man, that's the cool moment I wanted to see, and you guys didn't catch that. It sucked. But yeah, the match was really, really good.
Definitely, and Dalton Castle's got such a bright future. I'm loving this every minute of it.
Yeah, somebody who I think ROH certainly has pegged for a large amount of success, just because you bring something so much more different to the table than a lot of the other talent on their roster does. But we'll have to wait and see, because we got our title matches up next, and Castle ain't in any of them, to some great shame, I'm sure, for some people. But Bobby Fish is up first, defending the television title against Mark Briscoe. I thought this was good. Both these guys are really consistent. Mark Briscoe seems to injure his hip during the match after a Cactus Jack elbow on the outside, and he plays with it really well, whether it was real or worked. He almost drops Bobby Fish after trying a suplex on him because his hip gives out. He can't reverse moves because of his hip. It's really well done. Both guys do some homage to Roderick Strong with a couple of his moves. But at the end of the day, Bobby retains with a series of moves, chiefly a corner explosion suplex and a Falcon Arrow. I was surprised how short this was, to be honest, but still good.
Yeah, with the injury, if it was an angle or if it was reality, that does buy into the whole fact that it was short on maybe on purpose. But at the end of the day, I thought both these guys put a lot of hard work into this match. I appreciated, some of that homage stuff like you were talking about to Roderick Strong, and just a solid match. Nothing out of the realm of good. It was just not great. So that kind of leads you to the fact that it was just it was what it needed to be. But it did know more. It didn't exceed expectations. And I'll say this, man, just a tough show for the Briscoe brothers, man. Both of them did, worked hard in the ring, just couldn't get a victory.
Mm.
Yeah, we talking about the TV title match.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those that Bobby Fish again, sort of working another face in Ring of Honor, and it's kind of the same thing with Dalton Castle. Just you thought you'd get more and you didn't.
Mm-hmm. Very true. I mean, and I'm sure that the whole pace of a feud with Bobby Fish about to change with Donovan Dijak and Prince Nana jumping in and whenever that's going to happen. So looking forward to that, because that could be a great clash of styles that works out to making a new star for ROH, hopefully.
And much more about, you can actually care about Bobby Fish, just completely him, and not have the crowd split.
Right. I mean, but to Bobby's credit, though, I think he works a great heelish babyface, though, because in the build-up to this, he certainly rubbed Mark's nose in it that he was definitely the less successful Briscoe.
Yes, he did.
So we get to our co-main event, which is the tag team title match with the Addiction defending against Evil and Tetsuya Naito of the Los Ingobernables de Japón, and Michael Elgin and Hiroshi Tanahashi teaming up. And, this match was pretty much about the New Japan guys and Elgin and Naito, and Elgin's sort of brewing feud that they have going in New Japan carries over into this. And I think you have a lot of really great spots, and the Addiction sort of sneak out with the win, which is how we all thought they would, as Daniels gets a blind tag on Tanahashi after he hits the high fly flow onto Evil, and he sort of covers both guys at the same time. But this is still a really well-worked match, I think. Naito and Elgin and Tanahashi and Evil were all top-notch. And Elgin he's been killing it since he signed with New Japan. He's just a huge star. The double team moves he gets to hit on both teams is just incredible. That tope con hilo that he likes to break out is awesome. And man, Naito was certainly tranquilo to the max, which maybe that should be a podcast for us.
Yeah. I would be game. I would listen to every minute.
What would we do? Just talk about Naito for?
Just sit around like this.
Yeah.
We'll just sit around like this the whole time.
I'm game. Anyway, this was a lot of fun. Of course, not just because Naito's in it. Because trust me, if Naito would have been wrestling himself, I would have watched that. But this was a lot of fun, and I think it's something that like Paul said, it kind of leads into what they've been doing with their feuds. Not just with this match, but of course some of the things going on. I think it makes all the sense in the world for the Addiction to steal the victory. It just gives credit to what they're all about, and that's cheating to win, finding any way to win, but everybody else doing the work, and that's what happened here. So I really don't have a lot of bad things to say about it, but it was an interesting little match here.
Yeah, I enjoyed this match, and kind of sucked almost seeing the Addiction go out and win. But again, at least the ROH team looked strong here and got the win over two New Japan teams, and that's a plus.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot to mention the Kamatachi coming out and botching up the interference, almost costing the Addiction the championships, which was a cool little spot too. But the Addiction, they have their own problems brewing in ROH too, with the Young Bucks and the Motor Machine Guns sort of chasing after them. So still stuff to look forward to there, and we'll talk more about that tag team situation whenever we get to the ROH TV episode this week. But It's time, guys. The main event, ROH World Title. Jay Lethal defends against Adam Cole. I was so hyped for this match, and it pays off so incredibly well. This is probably one of the better matches I've seen all year. Just because all the build and everything has been so good, and then this match absolutely delivers. And it feels like a grudge match the entire time because they go into the opening stare down. Cole just won't look Lethal in the eyes, and Lethal is just death staring him, and that's great. And then Cole still has Lethal's dreads. He brings them out of his trunks, and I can't imagine how itchy that was. But and then that pisses Lethal off, and we're off. And these guys are just absolutely beating the bejesus out of each other. Lethal with the bigger moves. Cole sort of said to run him down and sort of piss him off to make him make mistakes. And the table comes into play again here, too, like we mentioned earlier. Lethal has Cole on the table, goes up top. Hail to the King to the outside, misses. He just runs right through the table, and he gets all cut up for his trouble, too. Not to mention that nasty gash he has on the right side of his body is pretty brutal looking. And, man, at the end of the day, it just wasn't meant to be for Lethal. Cole comes out on top after a string of the 2 suplex neckbreaker things that he likes to do in a Shining Wizard. And the crowd pops hard, commentary silent because, the guy they've been working against is now the champion. And I'm over here dead because this match is awesome. And, post-match, Kyle O'Reilly comes out, beats down Cole, and that's how we end the show. And 4 3/4 stars is what I gave this one. This was just a barb murder of a match. So good. So good. Go watch this right now. Right now. Pause our show. Go watch this.
And then come back. You're right, Paul. This was on point. This was the match we expected to see, and I was thrilled that it happened. You always get nervous because the hype is there, and then at times that's all it is, hype. This was not. This is sold and delivered, and so I'm so glad to see that. I love this whole story of the fact that Adam Cole just does everything. He's thought about this. He's made a plan, and the plan came to fruition. Heck, maybe he talked to Naito because this is kind of one of Naito's things, and that's outsmart your opponent. Don't do too much to make him know that you were outsmarted him, but just outsmart him. And I feel like Adam Cole did that all the way here. Jay Lethal was working by emotion the entire time, just wanted to rip Adam Cole's head off, and every time he did that, he ended up making a flaw. And so by doing that, it was ready for a new champion, and I loved it, man. I thought it was great. I'm a huge Jay Lethal guy too, but Adam Cole winning makes all the sense in the world here, and it just, man, I can't wait to see where this feud goes from here.
This was freaking amazing, awesome match. It did everything you wanted it to. I think I went like half a star lower, but we're starting to get into pulling hairs. Just these two, you guys kind of said it all, but I really enjoyed the hell out of this. And Adam Cole getting the big win, 2-time champ, and now we see where this goes with the whole Bullet Club thing.
And the one thing I appreciate, and if I'm not wrong, Paul, I think they did this with the Bobby Fish match, if I'm not wrong on this. I love the way that, Adam Cole, for sure, he basically made sure he did the finisher twice to make sure he puts him away. Doesn't allow him to make any more offense, because we know you can kick out of the guy's finisher, but this was a way to make it, sealed and complete for Adam Cole to win, and that's to do the finisher twice.
He hits that suplex neckbreaker at least 4 or 5 times during the match, and Lethal keeps kicking out. It's just, at the end he hits 2 of them, and Lethal, he hits Lethal Injection, like they tease it a lot, because Cole obviously doesn't want to get hit by it, but when he finally does, it's the closest pin count that Lethal ever got, like 2 3/5. It was And, they just went out there, absolutely killed it. Absolutely killed it. This is the best match ROH has put on all year. This is the best pay-per-view ROH has put on all year. They've really set up the rest of the year well as far as the main event scene goes, because you can have Lethal and Cole. Cole Cabana has a beef with Cole. Kyle O'Reilly obviously has the beef. So we have All Star Extravaganzas, their next pay per view. They've scheduled the Survival of the Fittest tournament, and then we'll have Final Battle, and whew, it's going to be a big one, I think, for ROH. What are you guys going to rate this pay per view, though?
Wow, there's a lot of great things in this show, and putting a rating on it is so hard because I think they put some great matches together. There were some that were not so great; they were okay. And when you get into that realm, it's about average for me. The main event was top notch. Some of the other action we got, Okada and Castle, was right up there with it too. But I don't think everything on this card was excellent. So it's hard for me to get to the 9 and 10 range. I'm going to go with a 7 only because I think there were some great matches here, but not enough to really push me over to the 8.
I'm going to say 7.5. The main event was great. You had a great match with Jay and Adam Page. You had some fun stuff in there. The tag title match, the TV title match was good. It wasn't, I think we kind of expected better, but other than the that one tag with the Bullet Club and Chaos, everything else was good or even better than expected. I think the opener delivered more than we thought. So definitely a show worthy of watching, especially the 2 great matches.
I'm going to look like a huge mark in comparison to y'all's ratings. I'm giving it an 8.5. There's the 6-man tag is below, is average. Everything else is 3 stars or better, and that's an incredible show for me. And not to mention the Anything Goes match was great. Match of the year candidate for sure in the main event, and maybe it's just because I'm a huge mark for Lethal and Cole, but that main event just killed it for me. And like I said, there hasn't been a better show ROH has put on all year than this one. So kudos to them.
Fair enough. I think you got a good point there. All right. Well, we've got a Ring of Honor show to talk about too that happened this Monday night. So why don't we go ahead and get into that, Paul?
Let's do it. So this is the follow-up episode of Death Before Dishonor. However, this was still taped from their last series of tapings out in Philly. So this is sort of like a filler episode almost. But you open with Jonathan Gresham taking on Hangman Page. And this is pretty much the Adam Page show. Gresham gets a lot in. Really shows off his athleticism and all this and that. But Adam Page ends up putting him away with the slingshot clothesline and the rite of passage. And Hangman Page's stock is sort of on the rise here in Ring of Honor once again.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see it. I'm a big, Adam Page follower. I think that he's a guy that has so much potential to do some great things in the future. So saying that, it makes all sense in the world. And Gresham, once again, he did get his offense in to an extent, but it was about showcasing what Page could do. And so I had no, grief with this at all. I thought it was fine. A good way to start the show.
Yeah. Then we get a string of sort of things here. The Cabinet get a promo where they announce that they'll be taking on Dalton Castle and the Boys in a 6-man tag next week on Ring of Honor. And then we go to a video package narrated by Kevin Kelly where he announces War Machine's going to take on Shane Taylor and Keith Lee in the big grudge match, which should be awesome. And the Young Bucks get their World Tag Team title match against the Addiction next week as well. And then they get to cut a little promo talking about how they've only been one time ROH Tag Team Champions, and they find that kind of a joke. So, next week is going to be a big episode. I'm really looking forward to that one.
Me too. Good stuff.
Yeah, and then we have Stuka Jr. making his debut here, sort of the first appearance of the new working agreement between CMLL and ROH. And the announce team sort of hypes up how it's sort of a big deal as he's the first CMLL guy here and all that good stuff. And then he's taking on Kamatachi, who's got Christopher Daniels in tow with him. And I thought Stuka was kind of impressive here. He's a bigger guy, but he can really move. He loves the moonsault. He lots of dives. Very, very heavy lucha offense, which is great because it sort of helps him stick out. And Kamatachi is content to cheat and all this other stuff, and that plays into the finish where he takes off Stuka's mask and rolls him up for the 3. I thought this went long at parts, but ultimately it was still pretty good display, I think, for Stuka.
Yeah, I agree. Stuka did a pretty good job here, and it's nice to see someone that is a little bit different in this organization. We get a lot of guys who are so athletic, and just it's proven day in and day out when you watch Ring of Honor that they have great talent. But some of the styles don't vary just a ton of times, and so this is a guy that hopefully will do that in this match. At least he kind of proved that he could. And with Kamatachi, you just figure shenanigans are somewhere, and you're just waiting for him, and that's what happened. So yeah, I'm in agreement with you too. A little bit long. I was kind of surprised how long it went with this match, but at the end of the day, it was a debut. It was nice that we got this kind of match going on. So I'm not hating it, but I agree with you. It's a little bit long.
Mm. And then we get this really, really odd video package going over the Kevin Sullivan, BJ Whitmer, Steve Corino situation. Really, all I took away, BJ sort of changed his look. He's got like this big black X on his head, and he's got like the almost evil, sleepless look going on. And Sullivan's talking about maybe having to sacrifice one of his sons in the midst of all this, and it's just weird.
I think anytime you get Kevin Sullivan involved, it's always weird. But at the end of the day, this is very odd for me. I really never saw this coming this far, but that's okay. I think they have to kind of push their point, but at the end of the day, it is very weird.
Yeah. And that brings us to our main event, which is Jay White taking on Jay Briscoe. Sort of a display for White, but Briscoe more than puts him through his paces. And this ends up going to the TV time limit remaining draw. Where both guys I think get in a lot. It's a way to protect Jay White as he's still undefeated still after this. And I don't know if this was done in post or if this was something that actually happened at the show. But that was wrestling chants, even though there's a large amount of booing once that bell rings.
They may have, but I think these guys put on a pretty good match. Despite the fact that we didn't get a finish, I think they did a good job. And of course, in a way, I'm kind of glad they didn't put a finish in because you do need Jay White to have his opportunities to showcase that, hey, I'm not only a great talent, but I'm a guy that's here to win. Mm-hmm. I'm not just a young guy that I'm going to come to lose, win. No, I'm here to do this right. So I loved it from that aspect. On the other aspect, it is kind of a bummer when you kind of get into a situation where you got a Broadway and you're just kind of left hanging. Maybe that should excite us. Maybe that should say, hey, we've got more to offer later.
Yeah, what they gave us, I certainly left me wanting more, because Jay Briscoe is knocking the shit out of Jay White the entire time, and White is sort of the plucky underdog staying in the fight with everything he can, and I'd be okay with a rematch for sure. But that is our main event, and that brings us to the end of this episode of Ring of Honor TV.
And, once again, it was kind of a filler episode, like Paul said, but still good stuff in it. You definitely want to watch it. It's something that I definitely enjoyed watching when I saw it.
Yeah, it's been certainly worth your time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This isn't one of those where they kind of just let you down and just put a bunch of packages and crappy matches together. This was something that was actually worth watching, trust me. Because we all know the Ring of Honor is not far from doing something where it's like, hey, we'll just throw an episode together even if it's not great. This one was good. But anyway, that's our show for this week, guys. We've got a lot of great stuff. We've got some cool stuff coming your way on Thursday night live on Spreaker.com. That'll be part 2 of our show. We'll be talking NXT. That's right, NXT following.
Oh wait, hold on. We forgot to talk about the Jericho and Brock thing.
Oh, did you actually want to talk about that in depth? I know we mentioned it.
I just think it was cool that, Jericho. Yeah, because we hear about the Jericho Goldberg fight, right? That infamous one. But just like Jericho thought it was a shoot so bad that he went into the gorilla position and was like asking people like, "What's going on? Why is nobody stopping this? And what is Brock like shooting on him and stuff?" And then they're getting a fight backstage and all that. Just Jericho doesn't care that Brock's like freaking monstrous dude, Yeah,
he better be careful. Brock Lesnar, is pretty rough guy, and if he wants to continue his podcast, he's going to need that jaw. Saying all that, it is very interesting that this all took place like this. In my personal opinion, I get it. Jericho loves the WWE. He wants to protect it. Heck, he's a big Vince McMahon fan. He loves Vince, and so I think he was just being the protector, protecting the company and, questioning everything about Brock Lesnar. I get it. But that was really none of his business. That's Vince McMahon's business. That's Triple H's business. That's their thing. If it didn't happen the way it needed to happen, let them handle it. But getting in Brock Lesnar's face, not a smart thing. Luckily, this didn't come down to blows from what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that Brock Lesnar shoved Jericho, but nothing happened between. I'm hearing that Triple H got between them. I'm hearing that Vince McMahon himself even came out and explained to Jericho, you're the one in the wrong because this is the way we wanted it, that we've discussed this. You don't need to be giving Brock a hard time. So at the end of the day, I think it's very interesting that Jericho would do this, but man, I mean, Paul, this kind of shows to me that Jericho is definitely invested in what's going on.
Hey, he's a locker room leader now. He's one of the vets. He's one of the guys at the top of the pecking order, and went to bat for his fellow wrestler when he thought somebody was doing wrong. There's no problem. This is a very common wrestling thing. I have no problem with it. It was solved before anything terrible could happen. So, I mean, good on Jericho, in my opinion. There's not a lot of guys left in the industry who really take that role of being a locker room leader that seriously.
You make a good point. I mean, that is the truth about the industry now, and I think people are really afraid to speak up, and Jericho's not. He stood his ground. That's how he got to his career to where it is he stood up for himself and he stood up for his fellow wrestlers, and maybe other people should take in mind if this leadership role, but once again, I mean, it was kind of a shock to me because I really didn't think anybody was going to do anything like that towards Brock Lesnar. Just because
and the fact that he really believed that Vince would let him go out there and it's not planned. Mm-hmm. Like Randy had to tell him, like, oh, dude, I know. Like, maybe I think Brock did go a little bit overboard. I'm sure he did. But the fact that, like, Vince and Triple H had to get there involved, and Vince was like, dude, it's a work. You should know better. Like, just, that's pretty cool. Like, even a veteran,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought we couldn't leave without at least going through it a little bit, because I know it was something big that people wanted to hear us talk about.
No, definitely.
I got out of here.
I appreciate you bringing it up, and it is one of those things that we probably should have talked about in quick hits. It's just we highlighted it a little bit earlier, and I just didn't think about it again. But yeah, I mean, that's our show once again for today. Come check us out for part 2, and that'll be on Friday on the download for you guys, where we discuss NXT following NXT Brooklyn Takeover 2. We'll also be jumping into some big stuff when it comes to TNA Impact Wrestling. Of course, we'll probably have more information on this whole new situation with Bobby Lashley. Yeah, lots of stuff going on with that, and of course everything that entails, plus a lot of other big news in the world of wrestling that we have not got a chance to talk about, and of course the stuff that will be coming out later this week we'll be getting into on that episode. And of course, like always, we crown a Superstar of the Week, so trust me, it's going to be tough. We've got not only Death Before Dishonor to talk about, we also have SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2 to kind of mix up and figure out who deserves our points on our board. Guys, it's going to kill us. It's already killing my mind who we're going to pick for this next week. So we'll see. And also, just to let you know, once again, you can find us, of course, on Facebook, Wrestling to the Max. That's a great group. You don't want to not join, because you won't be getting all the great stuff comes out of that if you don't join. So go do it now. Go join. Be a part of it. It's growing at leaps and bounds. You don't want to miss that. Plus, of course, W2M Network. If you're not subscribed, go do that also now. Sean, do you want to give us any heads up on what's coming this week on the W2M Network?
Well, Fantasy Football Podcast for Monday is already out. Randy and Mike talked about what to do with quarterbacks, defenses, and kickers. And they'll be doing the rest of the positions, I think, on Thursday. We'll start. I do my first draft, I think, on Wednesday for the Last Word football. The first W2M draft is on the 29th on next Monday. So when we do, like, during Raw, we'll have to be paying attention to some drafting. I don't know, Paul, will you be able to like pull away and draft on your phone, or is that?
Yeah, I'll be doing it live on my phone while I'm throwing strikes like a beast.
Yeah, see, there you go. Paul's gonna be glorious while he drafts.
So true. So true.
Oh man.
Maybe we
Coming
can get
down from the Raptors like Jesus.
yeah.
And then you see Billy Corgan over there smiling, pointing. Yes, good job.
Well, there you go. I think all the other ones. I'm sorry that for the Running Wild guys that they're listening, because of the issue with the internet. Like all of their show was a bunch of previews, and I almost felt like it was almost unnecessary to like waste their time and ours to load it, and then nobody probably listened to it because it's all shows that have already happened by then. But Loaded Questions has two new podcasts, one about soccer and one about basketball. Everybody else should probably have a new. Freaking Randall has a new podcast, and I forgot to upload it. I need to upload it. He reviewed Takeover. He was the first one to review Takeover out of all of us. So I need to get that up there. Almost kind of forgot. He hadn't done a podcast in like 3 weeks. I sort of kind of forgot. And yeah, we won't be doing any college until next week when we finish it out with the SEC preview. And then of course the NFC East, where our Cowboys reside, Gary. We'll be doing that on Thursday, but we'll be doing NFL preseason week 2 for sure. At some point tonight, as long as Randy doesn't make us wait till like 5 in the morning, then we might have an issue. But he's closing, so who knows? But that's looks like a full head of shows. I think even the Arena podcast comes back this week.
Oh, great! So a lot of great shows coming your way, and me and Sean will be doing football this week, like he said. And Paul, just to let you know, Braxton, your boy Lynch did look bad quarterbacking for those Denver Broncos. He needs to play with the starters. Let's see what he can get, right?
Maybe Dak Prescott needs to be playing. You see how he's just blowing everybody away.
So I think both of our teams got some good quarterbacking there. All right, guys. Well, that's our show. Appreciate everybody coming and joining us. So for myself, for Sean, for Paul, if you're not living life to the max,
not living life at all.
You know it.
Peace.
Later.